8th, 2026 edition. And of course, as I said just a moment ago, this is part two. And guys, this is actually my third time on today. In case you want to go back and catch the broadcast I did, it was an early morning broadcast. What I'm going to call my sunrise sunrise baseball this day kind of thing. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but I may from time to time come on a little bit earlier. So it's kind of late right now, and so I know for my people in the East, you're probably gone to bed, and I can still catch a few people in the Midwest, maybe around 10 o'clock, who might be playing around with their telephone, probably lying in the bed trying to figure out what they want to do. And then, of course, the people on the West Coast. Yeah, it's right. It's like 8 o'clock on the West Coast. So hopefully this broadcast will reach some of my people on the West Coast and internationally. I reach people as well. So this is a third edition, and it's going to be short. It's not going to be long. I could have combined all these together, but it's kind of more fun to do it this way because you never know who might join later on. All right. So if you join this broadcast, by all means, let me know where you're joining from. And if you can stay a minute, that's all right. I understand that people are busy. And you got a lot of people just scrolling, just looking for anything they can find that seems to be interesting. And I know I sometimes I catch myself doing that, and I go to YouTube, and man, I catch a lot of hype, a lot of commercials. Interesting thing about me right now is that I'm commercial free. So, without further ado, let me jump in here. Hopefully, you can hear me real good. I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to give you just a few facts and then I'm going to be on my way. But I want to come back because I had promised that I would come back. Okay. So, here we go. We want to go to April the 8th, 1911. And on that particular day, John W. Donaldson, lefty John W. Donaldson, who's only age 20 at this time, uh, is playing with Walter Brown's Tennessee Rats out of Holden, Missouri. A lot of people, when they hear Tennessee Rats, they figure they must be from Tennessee. No, they weren't from Tennessee. They were from Holden, Missouri. And I presented in Holden before. I had the pleasure many years ago of introducing them to this team. And now in that area, which is in the Johnson County, Missouri, they do celebrate the Tennessee Rats. I was even able to find some descendants of one of the Tennessee Rats players. So they are from Holden, Missouri, and the owner of that team was Walter Brown. Walter Brown was a musician, played the cornet, and he had a minstrel show with his team, and the minstrel show would play in the evening, maybe at the local theater or whatever, and the baseball team would play in the daytime because, of course, there was no nighttime baseball during going back to 1911 when they were in their prime. So that is pretty much the story on the Tennessee Rats. But John Donaldson on this particular day tossed a 3-0 shutout and struck out 19 of the Kirksville Leaguers in Noringer, Missouri. Novinger, Missouri. So they were just warming up because they're going to head out to Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, and they're going to play a lot of baseball, right? And they had the minstrel show and the baseball. Can you imagine that? If you signed up with them, if you played an instrument, you got a little extra money, right? And I did talk to I'm trying to think Georgia Dwight, who was Eddie Dwight's wife, and Dwight started off with the Tennessee Rats. Did talk to Chet Brewer, who also started off with the Tennessee Rats, and they told me lots of stories about Walter Brown and his wife, and they called her Aunt Mert. Aunt Mert, she traveled with the team. You don't see her name in print very often because she was wife traveling with the team, but they said that she was the cook, and they said she had some of her steaks were as tough as any steak you ever wanted to eat. And I got that directly from Chet Brewer, who actually played with the Tennessee Rats. Okay, and I think Chet Brewer, I can tell you a lot about him. And actually, let me give you something right here, just in case you didn't know this. And it just came out on the press release today, so I'm happy to talk about it. But I have been working with the group, and so it was announced today that I think maybe five members, yeah, 5 members of the who were from Kansas who play baseball are going to go into the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. That's down in Wichita, and there's going to be an event. I think it's going to be in July. I'll get the correct date on that, and it's going to be at the Legends Field, where out at the Legends area there in Kansas City, Kansas. If you actually want to be there, you might look that up. But Chet Brewer is going to be one of the people who get into the Hall of Fame on that particular day. I'm very proud of that. I've worked a lot on Chet Brewer, and I'm happy to see that he's getting some recognition. Also, my neighbor who lived behind me growing up, he's going in, and that's Ed Dwight. And just so happens that, hey, I had actually interaction with both of those. Miss Dwight was one of my biggest boosters. She was a good friend with my mother. And then also Chet Brewer, the first time I went out to California, I stayed at his house. Now, the other one is Wilbur Bullet Rogan. He's going in. And Wilbur Rogan, who actually was born in Oklahoma, but was raised in Kansas City, Kansas. So he is going to be in. And then also, a guy, he didn't play in the Negro Leagues, but he might have heard of him before. Diego Segui came up with the Kansas City A's and finished with the Seattle Pilots. Yeah, I actually saw the Seattle Pilots play in 1969. I went out to see them play at Old Municipal Stadium. Okay, who else am I? Okay, and how about this? The guy who actually got me started in actually producing Negro League baseball history was a guy by the name of Roy Moffel, Dink Moffel, out of Topeka, Kansas. He's definitely going in. And there is somebody else. Who am I forgetting? I'm trying to think. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody. So it's one more player. Oh, Frank Wickware. Frank Wickware. How could I forget Frank Wickware? Last year I went to Schenectady where he is buried. And actually, first I went to his hometown, which is Girard, Kansas, and I presented there, and we kind of arranged something that was worked out pretty good. I had the mayor come out to the event, and they gave me a jar full of soil from Girard, Kansas, his hometown where he was born. And then when I traveled out to the east, I was speaking at Cooperstown that week. And of course, Schenectady is right by Cooperstown, right by Albany, New York, right in that area. And so I was able to connect with those people there, and especially with the cemetery. And they put up a tent, and we had a program. Some baseball enthusiasts came over. A newspaper followed me over there, and I gave a presentation right on his gravesite. And the soil they gave me from Girard, Kansas, I spread that over his monument there in Schenectady, New York. I brought Kansas back to Frank Wickware, and I brought Frank Wickware to the forefront because people weren't talking about him. Walter Johnson, who saw him pitch, thought he was one of the greatest pitchers that he ever saw. And when Walter Johnson actually said that, he had to apologize because he said, "I don't want to insult Christy Mathewson and those guys," but he thought Frank Wickware was something special. So I was able to do that last year and have that event. And then, of course, I played trumpet. And so I finished off the day playing taps. And there's a great picture of me playing taps on the trumpet, and a guy who's a veteran, because Frank Wickware was also a World War I veteran. He was there, and he is saluting, and he's off to the side while I'm playing the trumpet. One of the great pictures. I need to get a copy of that photograph. It's really an amazing photograph. And so that is the other person going into the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame, and they will have an event there in Kansas City, and then they will have another one out, I think, outside of Wichita. So I will probably go to that one as well. So I'm going to do some special things around these guys getting induction into the Sports Hall of Fame because this is kind of what I do. So John W. Donaldson, he's already in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, but he was a great player. And guy, I don't know if there's any pitcher who had more 20 strikeout games than John Donaldson. I'm just going to tell you the truth. And man, he was something special. A great lefty, and guys, when he got it going, boy, I'm telling you, I always tell people a foul ball was a good hit that day, right? foul ball was as good as a single because that was about all you were going to get. This guy, one time he struck out 30 men in a game and lost his game on his own error. How about that? 30 strikeouts in a game. Man, it's incredible. So I'm going to give you one more, and then I am going to call it a day. But this one I do remember, and of course, I couldn't get by this day without mentioning this, but on April the 8th, 1974, Hank Aaron hit his 715th home run to break Ruth's record of 714 home runs. Hey, do you remember where you were when that happened? Boy, I do. I remember exactly whose house I was at. I wasn't even at home, but I was following that game. So every place you went in the black community, I'm telling you, they had this game on. So I was visiting one of my classmates. The girl that I had grown up with, and uh, and so they had the TV on, like most of the people in the community, and I saw him hit that home run. Of course, I had grown up with Hank Aaron, and never had a chance to see Hank play, but I do have a picture with Hank Aaron, and of course, I have a personal Hank Aaron story that I could share, and I probably shared it before. I won't share it tonight because I want to put a lot of emphasis on this 715th home run. And remember the 715th, I think it came off of Al Downing, if I'm correct. What it was either the 714th or the 715th came off of Al Downing. Yeah, so a black man hit a home run off a black man to break a white man's record. How about that? That's incredible. So, but this is baseball and this is baseball history. And I've been following it through the good years, the lean years, the years when they didn't hit many home runs back in 1968 to in the 80s when man the second baseman might hit 40 home runs, right? And we are not talking about people like Joe Morgan. We're talking about guys who never hit 40 home runs again, never hit 30 home runs again, never hit 20 home runs again, but they did right in that little period. So I know the ball was definitely juiced up, and most people would say that it was. So that kind of does it for me tonight. And this is my third broadcast of the day. And remember, I'm going for the Barry Bonds number of subscribers. So I'm trying to get to 762, and I think I'm about 3 or 4 away. So, guys, if you like this kind of broadcast, you're hearing me for the first time, you might want to come back again. By all means, go ahead and subscribe. And I will tell you this, guys, before I get out, in case you haven't followed me today, I did 3 broadcasts today. And in these different broadcasts, for instance, I mentioned Saul White, his team, the Philadelphia Giants, beating Newark of the International League. Then I talked about Bud Fowler um, recording a song entitled The Royal Giants back in 1909. Of course, we just finished John Donaldson. I talked about Hank Aaron. And then, of course, I talked about an outfielder, Scott Adele, who was born on this date, April 8th, 1999. So I've had a full day of different things. So, guys, hey, that's what we do here. And so, without further ado, I'm going to call it a day. As I've been talking to you, I've been working my stress ball here, a little baseball stress ball, and actually, I got 2 of them here. so, so sometime when I'm talking to you, I'm squeezing this stress ball. So, guys, I guess I don't really have any much more to say. Now I will be back tomorrow. We're going to keep on going till we get that 762 number of subscribers, and once we reach 762, which is the Hank Aaron, actually Barry Bonds number, we passed the Hank Aaron number earlier this week. We're going to go for the Sahara O number, and which will put me around 800 subscribers. And my goal, of course, is to get 1,000 subscribers before this broadcast has been on a year. So I'm pulling up on June, July, something like that. I'll probably make maybe July, just I will call maybe the end of July to get the 1,000 subscribers. Starting to get a lot of watch hours. And so go back and watch some of my old broadcasts. I've got videos. Even if it says this day in Black baseball history, just know that I will give you a fact that happened on that day, but I will also give you lots of things around that fact, right? So, there's so much I could have said about Hank Aaron approaching that record. I have his book. I've read his book, and I remember him talking about the death threats he got just trying to break a baseball record. But man, baseball people sometimes hold these records so close that it is amazing how emotionally connected people get to some of these records. But records are made to be broken, right? And so anytime someone achieves a record, just know if it hasn't been done before and not recorded, or if it hasn't been done somewhere, it's going to be done again sooner or later. Somebody's going to break that record. So, but baseball is that kind of game that's steeped in tradition, and that's the reason why I'm able to talk about all these facts here from 1900. And if I was talking about professional basketball in 1900, I probably wouldn't have. I probably have about a half a dozen subscribers. Nobody cares about that, but people care about baseball, traditional, uh, especially traditional records. They care about baseball. If I was to talk about football at the turn of the century, guys, nobody cared. But I can come on this broadcast, I can go all the way back to 1800 and something, and people will stay with me because it's baseball history. And that's what we love about baseball. One of the things we love about baseball. And it's a game, believe me, most everybody has played some form of baseball, if not in a league or with an organized team, just in the community. If you play softball, you've participated. Almost everybody knows the rules. How about that? The rules haven't changed that much. And they got some new rules that are coming along. The game is really changing right now, but that's to keep people interested. And but there's always been a lot of changes in baseball. It used to be, hey, four strikes was an out. So but they changed that a long time ago. So, all right, guys, I can ramble on. I don't want to do that because I got to come back every night. I can ramble every night, but I try to keep the broadcast down. So this has been 17 minutes, and I just want to tell you guys, I respect you and I appreciate all your support. And guys, if you ever want to read a good book, just let me know. And from time to time, I will pump my books, and I have several of them out there. I've got quite a few books. I might be the one. Am I probably the guy with the most books on the Negro Leagues? Matter of fact, I'm not probably. I am the guy. So, and I've got books in the works that if I would just sit down and finish them, I would have more. But guys, it's tough to get everything done, and I still work a job, right? So, all right then. So, guys, be sure to check out that Kansas Sports Hall of Fame if you're anywhere in the area. It's going to be great. I think I'm gonna call and see. There's a guy named I'm trying to think his name. He worked with me at the Kansas City Royals. He's the general manager of the team. Jay Hendricks is his name. And I think I'm going to call Jay and say, hey, Jay, hey, who's playing the Star Spangled Banner that day? And maybe I can come out and play the Star Spangled Banner. How about that? I've done it many times before, but never in Kansas City. Isn't that something? So, all right, guys, take it easy, and we'll see you tomorrow. I may come on with a sunrise edition. If I do, it'll be before 7, and so hopefully you guys will be asleep, but maybe it'll be a whole new different audience, right? So if you like the broadcast, share it. Yeah, I appreciate that. And somebody said I have been a subscriber for a while. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And let's see, come on. Let's see. I guess that's about it. That's about the only comment I want to comment to. So, all right. Want to make a donation so I can go. Somebody said I want to make a donation so I can go on tour this weekend. Not sure what that means. Okay. So anyway, all right, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice evening. Bye.